It's time for What's Burnin' with Kevin KB Burns, presented by Bill Lacasse and SRG Financial Advisors. But first, please join us as we honor our great nation with the playing of our national anthem. And now your host, Kevin KB Burns.
Welcome into What's Burnin' right here on Lake TV. KB with you again for another great show, including a brand new segment we're going to call Hot Air with my buddy Chris Schneider, a radio brother from another mother. Going to have an opportunity again to continue on with our series, Responsible Gun Ownership, Optics and Add-ons, with Tom Abbott from Iron Eagle Tactical. We'll head out to the Old Lynn Creek Cemetery and begin the journey on the trail with Bill Mulder, and we'll wrap it all up with KB's furry friends. I want to thank SRG Financial Advisors, Budget Blinds, Ozark Barge and Dock, our veterinary at the lake, and of course, Bryant Auction for making it all possible right here on Lake TV.
You want a dock that will withstand the wake from a million boats? Want a dock that's different from the usual dock? Then you want Ozark Barge and Dock in Gravois Mills. Ozark Barge and Dock, now celebrating 33 years of building the best dock on Lake of the Ozarks. And we guarantee every dock we build. So when it comes time to build your custom dock, trust the best and go with Ozark Barge and Dock, building the best dock at the lake for the last 33 years.
Looking for blinds, shades, shutters, drapes, or bedroom makeovers? On a budget? You need Budget Blinds in Laurie. Bring your ideas to us, or let our design consultants help you create the perfect look for your home. Because Budget Blinds is nationwide, our collective buying power enables us to search many major brands to bring you the blinds, shades, shutters, and drapes you want for less. Budget Blinds. Call us for a free consultation. Budget Blinds, the best in custom blinds and window coverings.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family. And at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offers routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. With multiple convenient locations, our veterinary is the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it.
What is COMC? A health center where everyone has access to high-quality, affordable medical, dental, and behavioral health care, regardless of insurance or ability to pay. Offering primary care, preventative, chronic, pediatrics, and OBGYN. COMC even offers comprehensive dental and same-day emergency care. A health center that focuses on every aspect of your health. Everything your family needs to stay healthy. At COMC, your health is our mission.
Join Lake TV for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris, the Lake area's only local TV talk show focused on the Lake area. Local stories, local sports, and local events. Have a cup of coffee with Will and Chris weekdays at 8, 1, and 8 on Lake TV.
A move to your dream home should be exciting, not a hassle. That's why you go with the experts at Sunrise Movers, where we do the hard work for you.
Hey, welcome back to What's Burnin' here on Lake TV, and this is going to be a little fun, a little interesting. We're going to step outside of the normal programming boundaries and have a little fun alongside here with my good buddy, Mr. Chris Schneider.
How are you, man?
Doing great. Great to see you. And Chris and I kind of have a similar background. We've spent a lot of time in radio.
Yeah.
Lots of years. I don't know about you, but it's been about 36 for me.
Yeah, I'm a little more than you. I'm a little over 40. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
When you hit the 50-year mark, you sell. That's just how it works.
Or die.
Or
One of the-
whichever.
you know, hey.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we both have lengthy lives ahead of us. But we wanted to share some of the stories that have kind of stood out in our minds over the years, various people that we've interviewed, the good, the bad, the indifferent, maybe some of the bosses that we've worked for, and some of those other interesting moments. I know weather has played an integral role in my radio career, and we'll get into that another time. But today we wanted to share maybe some of the radio interviews that we remember from those folks that were just really standout interviews.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you've got a little bit more background in this than I do. Is there anybody in particular that you really remember interviewing?
Yeah, there's several of them, but one of my favorites was Bob Lilly, Mr. Cowboy Bob Lilly. And he was the first Mr. Cowboy, before Roger Staubach, before those guys. So when I worked in Dallas for CBS, I also hosted the weekly Fellowship of Christian Athletes show. So I got to talk with these guys every week. And I was talking with Bob Lilly one time, and I was like, Roger Staubach, he's so squeaky clean, no bad stories about about Roger Staubach. And Lilly just started laughing. He said, I could tell you some stories. And I'm like, really? Okay, I've never heard this, right? So, and he said, oh yeah, there's this one time when Roger was just getting started, and he was just trying to make the team. He wasn't a big star yet or anything, and he was trying to impress us. So we were at training camp one year, and it was in between practices and classes, right? And he said, so there was a bunch of us guys just sitting out underneath a tree chewing. And so Roger decided he was going to come out and be one of the boys with us and have a chew, right? And I'm like, I haven't heard this. So Roger takes this big chew and sits down with the boys and starts chewing underneath the tree.
Right.
Well, right about then, the coaches called them into class, right? And Lilly says, I watched Staubach to see what he would do, right? Because it was obvious this was the first time he'd ever had a chew in his mouth. Right. And he said, the rest of us, we took the chew out and we, cleaned our mouths out. And we went into class, and he said, Roger never took the chew out of his mouth. And he said, so I just watched him. We went into the classroom. Here's Staubach. He's sitting in the front of the class, and he's got that chew in his mouth, and he just turned redder and redder and redder. And Lilly said, finally, Roger just shot out of his chair like a cannon and sprinted down, out there, and you could hear him getting sick outside.
Right.
And I didn't know if this story was true. So I saw Billy Joe Dupree like the next week on the golf course. He was a great Cowboy tight end. And I said, I was talking to Lilly last week, and he was telling me this story about Roger chewing, and Billy Joe just cracked up, and he said, oh, that's true. That's a true story. And then I saw Staubach like the next week, and I had to bring that up. And I mean, he just groaned. He said, that's the sickest I have ever been in my life, was that time I was chewing at training camp and got sick.
Just wanted to be one of the boys.
Yep, I just wanted to be one of the boys. But in a way, it did endear him to those guys, that he was willing to come and have a chew with them and even get sick, to be one of the boys. So that was kind of the way Roger Staubach's career got started with the Cowboys.
I've had about 3 or 4 very memorable radio interviews over the years, and it seems like a lot of these interviews that I did were with guys that had maybe plateaued. They've already seen the mountaintop, and they're kind of on their way back down a little bit, but they're still out there playing. One of my favorites of all time was Charlie Daniels, the late Charlie Daniels.
Yeah.
Charlie and I, he was getting ready to play at Ozarks Amphitheater, so I talked to Mary Kay Von Brendel, got it set up for Charlie to do an interview. And so we got him on the phone, and I had a guest in the studio with me, Mindy Sales.
Yeah.
And Mindy was just tickled pink to be in the studio to be able to hear the interview.
Yeah.
But we got him on, and we played some Charlie Daniels music into the interview like you would. And so some bumper music, and he was just tickled pink by that. He loved the daylights out of that. And then he turned around, and he was just so very, very great to talk with. You know, you could ask him just about anything. And then Mindy got a chance to talk to Charlie Daniels.
How was that?
And that's just like, you know, that's her saying, oh my gosh, this is so great. This is so wonderful. I can't believe I've got this opportunity. But he was so very gracious. And then after the interview, I played one of his other songs going into the break, which was Trudy. And for folks who know Charlie Daniels, they know that song. And it's a great song. A lot of people have redone it. But he was so cool, again, about the use of that music. He's like, nobody ever plays that song when they talk to me anymore. Because as we know, Charlie, you know, he got his life together. He found God. And you know, after some of the songs that he did early on in his career, he kind of cleaned things up. And really was an inspiration to a lot of these wonderful country stars that were up and comers, you know, when he was on the top of the heap, if you will.
Yeah.
But point being, one of my favorite interviews, just because the man was so gracious and he didn't have an attitude, didn't have any problems. And sometimes, you know, I'm sure you've run into that plenty of times with some of these folks that you interview, but just a nice man, you know, and it's one of those interviews that when you get done doing it, you feel like, yeah, wow, I really accomplished
There was something special about that, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, we're going to do more of this. Chris and I are going to take some time. We call it Hot Air on What's Burnin'. So that's obviously, it falls right into line with the show and the theme. So stick around for some more of this good stuff, and we'll have more coming up here on What's Burnin' on Lake TV.
At SRG Financial, we reduce the uncertainty on your journey to financial independence. Our foundational approach revolves around two things: what matters most to our clients and the things that we can control. The things that matter most often revolve around family, occupation, and recreation. The things we can control are a panoramic approach to financial planning, a strategy that stays fluid and dynamic like your life, and a proprietary process, the mile marker formula. If you want to reduce the uncertainty on your journey, contact us today.
There's a new radio station at the lake, a radio station that's geared towards the community, a radio station where you can have a hand in what we do. Welcome to Key Radio, a community-based radio station that invites you to be a part of the solution. We encourage you to become a content creator. That's right, you provide the content. Listen in at 89.3 or online at keyradio.live. To find out more about becoming a content creator, call 573-280-0532.
Hey, Jess.
Yeah, Nicole, what do you need?
Did you see that new listing in Sunrise Beach?
Yeah, it was just listed 2 minutes ago.
It has 150 feet of lakefront. And a brand new kitchen.
I'm headed out there after I type this email.
I'm on the phone with my clients. Hey, where are you going?
I already put an offer in, cash above list, and it's looking good.
Are you kidding me?
Gosh.
Happy New Year, everyone. Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture to the Lake. Still doing our winter blowout sale for a couple more weeks where we're taking 20% off all our Slumberland low prices, and you get 3 years, 36 months interest-free financing. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture at the Lake, where we're bringing happy home.
Looking for blinds, shades, shutters, drapes, or bedroom makeovers? On a budget? You need Budget Blinds in Laurie. Bring your ideas to us, or let our design consultants help you create the perfect look for your home. Because Budget Blinds is nationwide, our collective buying power enables us to search many major brands to bring you the blinds, shades, shutters, and drapes you want for less. Budget Blinds. Call us for a free consultation. Budget Blinds, the best in custom blinds and window coverings.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family. And at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offers routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. With multiple convenient locations, our veterinary is the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it.
back here with Tom Abbott at Iron Eagle Tactical. We've had a great run with the series on responsible gun ownership. We've talked to you about safety. We've talked to you about storage. We've talked to you about different types of handguns, different types of rifles, different calibers as far as bullets and ammunition, and a whole lot of useful information. And we'd like to kind of give folks another bit of a tutorial on options. And in a lot of cases, what we're going to be talking here about is optics and optical options, I guess, if you want to call it that. And of course, Iron Eagle Tactical carries a lot of different options for your optics.
Absolutely. And optics is the opportune word here. We were discussing that you just recently had a birthday and determined that you and I are the same age. And one of the things that I found is as I get older and celebrate more of those birthdays, I don't see as well as I used to. You know, when I was 20, 25 and had that fighter pilot vision, I don't have that anymore. So one of the things that I like to do is let people know that there are enhancements out there for their guns, either whether they're rifles or pistols. And I just wanted to show you some of the accessories that we sell at Iron Eagle Tactical that allow you to see the target better. Red dots are a huge thing right now, and what that does is basically you see a red dot and it projects it against the image of whatever it is that you're wanting to shoot at, whether it be a target or an animal or an individual that's breaking into your house. And there's a difference between the red dots and the lasers, so I wanted to go over that a little bit. But flashlights are available for your weaponry, whether it's pistols or shotguns or rifles or whatever you're using for home defense, or you're out in the woods, you know, you need to be able to see stuff. So I just wanted to show you a couple of those. The basic first thing that a lot of people get into, besides the iron sights or the sight picture that comes on their typical shotgun, rifle, or pistol, is a reflex red dot sight. This one, $35, $40, entry level. It basically projects an LED light from here onto this screen, but not through it. So it's not a laser that projects it. It just puts it up here on this screen so that you can see it whenever you're looking down your field of vision, and that puts a dot on your target. So once you get it dialed in, wherever that dot is, and you pull the trigger, as long as your breath, your grip, stance, and sight alignment are what it's supposed to be, and we'll talk about that when we get to the range, that's where the bullet's going to go. And it's adjustable to get it there. So that's one of the services that we offer, is that can work on a pistol, that can work on a rifle, work on a shotgun.
Well, and what's interesting about this is sometimes the red dot, as we call it in this particular instance, is a deterrent within itself. Somebody looks down and sees a red dot on their chest, they know that they're probably pretty close to being in some serious trouble.
And as law enforcement will tell you, or security will tell you, deterrence is the best option. You know, you never want to have to go to, pulling the trigger against somebody. So anything that you can deter them, racking a shotgun is a deterrent. A red dot that shows up on somebody, or a green dot in the laser situation, is a deterrent. That makes them think twice. Hesitation, is what you want to de-escalate that situation. We'll go with the pistol next. This is one of my personal favorites, the Kel-Tec PMR 30 rounds of 22 Magnum. We discussed the 22 Magnum earlier. Not only does it have the ability to put a red dot reflex sight on there, this particular one comes on whenever that shade comes off. So if this is your home defense gun, pull that shade off and it's automatically on. You don't have to faddle around with a switch to turn it on. It's on automatically, and we'll get a shot of that on camera. So now I have a red dot sight that's on, plus if it's a nighttime situation, I have a flashlight available to me.
Very nice.
All within the reach of my finger. There's a strobe light feature. Supposed to be. Maybe not on this one. So, and this is ambidextrous, so you can turn it on if you're left-handed and you're shooting left-handed. You've got your touchpad on either side. So this is a good home defense gun. It's 22 Magnum, so it's 30 rounds that you can hold in here. So there's a lot of shots down range you can get if you're a bad shot. This helps you be a better shot and get on target. And for night setup, you do have a flashlight available. So just some of the enhancements. I know anything that I'm working on, I have to have plenty of light. As you can tell, my gun room is lit up like Broadway in here. So I have to be able to see whatever it is that I'm looking at. Moving on to the rifles. This is a bigger red dot sight that's available for any of these rail type systems. And again, we make the rails for these. The red dot is good to about 100 yards on a rifle. You start losing, there's no magnification to it. It just projects the red dot onto a target that you can see in the field of vision here.
Now the red dot system, the rail system, and the scope, they're compatible. Is this something that essentially if I buy a scope and I have this type of rail system, am I going to have the ability to put it in place on this particular
you can. Yeah, it comes available to be able to put on there, tighten down. There are going to be adjustments available to it. You'll need to take it to the range or take it to a gunsmith. If you buy it from me, I'll do it myself with a bore sight in the end of the barrel that shoots a laser beam out to the target. We do it at 25 yards. So you dial this in, and there are adjustments on this setup right here to be able to, there's a left and right adjustment and an up and down adjustment.
And is there a certain type of product for this particular system, or can you basically buy product that will fit that regardless?
These rails are pretty well interchangeable. So it's a Picatinny rail. Ours does have a patent on it because it has a slightly different system, but it's compatible with all other, the optics, things like that. It just allows them to grip onto the rail and stay more steadfast longer. Your typical open sights is what would normally come on something like this. Another feature on the rifles is your laser designator. And we talked about this. This is for this short-barreled pistol setup that we have here, or the pistol setup. So you've got a light laser combination. I guess my finger is blocking the laser. There you go. There's your green laser. That's what you're talking about. If somebody's in your house or you see that on their chest, they're going to think twice about, this person is prepared for me. I'm not an innocent victim that I'm working on here. You know? And so that's where the deterrent comes in. Again, you got a flashlight combination that you can turn on there. Helps light up the situation at night. Back to the pistol there. Flip up iron sights. That's something else that, whenever you have if I wanted to put a red dot sight on top of here, take this off, put the red dot on here. You can fold these sights down out of the way. These are battery powered. Some of them are solar powered, but sun's not always out at night.
I was going to ask you about that, the need to change batteries or charge, or what do you do there?
Yeah, some of these things will eat batteries. They have typically a long battery life on them. These are an instant on setup whenever you shake them on. So if they're riding around in your truck and it's moving around quite a bit, they're going to stay on. It's going to run the battery life down. So it's always good to keep it simple, stupid, and have iron sights on anything that you're going to have to defend your life with. So these flip up iron sights, they'll flip down out of the way when you don't need them. If everything goes haywire with your electronics and there's an EMP blast that goes off and you need to go old school, stick with your iron sights and you're still going to be. One of the nice things about that is you can add a flashlight to almost any gun, whether it be a home protection shotgun, a hunting rifle, pistol, as we saw in there. This one I like because it's bright. It's got a touchpad on it, so you don't have to reach up and grab a switch.
No.
This comes down and will set up on your bipod down here or on your forward grip, so you're able to shed a little light on the subject.
Absolutely, and that, again, is a good deterrent for someone who may be in your home that shouldn't be in your home.
Right. Again, back to where I don't see as well, and I certainly don't have the ability to see 300 yards, very accurately. So you go into a magnification situation. This will go from 2.5 times magnification to 10 times magnification. So something that's at 1,000 yards, you can move it up to where it's like at 100 yards. I can see better at 100 yards.
Much better,
than I can at 1,000 yards. And if all else fails, this one also has a laser on it that will shoot 400 or 500 yards, daytime, nighttime. The green lasers are the way to go. I don't even sell red laser stuff anymore.
And why is that?
The red doesn't go as far. In a situation, if you're using it for in the woods, it gets lost in the trees, whereas the green is considerably brighter. It's just the green wavelength is better, so it'll go farther. It's brighter. Daytime doesn't affect it.
Better accuracy, all that good stuff.
Just go with there's a difference between a green laser and a red dot. The red dot doesn't project onto the target. It does it in the field of vision on the reticle or on the screen. So I quit selling anything that had red laser stuff on it. They just get lost. Whenever you want to get into, as we talked in the bolt action rifles, both of those had more of a magnification scope on it. This goes adjustable from 4 to 16 power. This one has 10 power. This one goes to 16.
Small telescope.
Yeah, pretty much, great for shooting out 400, 500 yards even. And then if you get into long range shooting where you want to shoot over 1,000 yards, you just want to keep going up in magnification.
Right.
There are some scopes out there that are in the $10,000, $12,000 range. Swarovski Crystal makes a scope, a line of hunting scopes that are in the $4,500 to $12,000 range.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so you can invest as much in glass as you do or more than on the rifle that you're shooting. But again, to be able to hit 1,700 yards, which is, a mile, you're going to have good glass.
Yeah, and that's probably for someone who's really into maybe shooting as far as sport.
Yep.
And again, I guess you really kind of start to cross over into the sniper realm there.
Right, and I like long range shooting. I like to shoot, working on 1,000 yards right now, and then you move out to a mile, and there's shots out there that can reach well over right at 2 miles. There are some calibers.
You hear some pretty interesting stories as far as snipers that have taken some pretty amazing and yet very accurate shots.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you have to take into the curvature of the earth, the wind, the twist, all kinds of stuff. But just thought I wanted everybody to know that there are other options out there to enhance your vision as we age.
We're not saying you're blind as a bat. We're not saying you can't hit the broadside of a barn. We're just saying that sometimes there are some things out there to help you make it a little easier. In the gun shop with Tom Abbott here at Iron Eagle Tactical. KB and our great responsible gun ownership series continues on. What are we talking about next time, Tom?
We are going to work on our concealed carry stuff.
Very good.
Yep. We're gonna move into the concealed carry, the guns that we want to use for concealed carry and personal protection.
Very good. We'll do it next time on What's Burnin' right here with Tom Abbott and Iron Eagle Tactical on Lake TV.
Enjoying What's Burning with KB right here on Lake TV? Have questions, comments, or suggestions? Have an interesting story for KB to tell? Or maybe you want to be interviewed by KB on the show or are interested in sponsoring? All you have to do is reach out to KB at kb@mylaketv.com.
You want a dock that will withstand the wake from a million boats? Want a dock that's different from the usual dock? Then you want Ozark Barge and Dock in Gravois Mills. Ozark Barge and Dock, now celebrating 33 years of building the best dock on Lake of the Ozarks. And we guarantee every dock we build. So when it comes time to build your custom dock, trust the best and go with Ozark Barge and Dock, building the best dock at the lake for the last 33 years.
Most people don't know which direction they're heading when it comes to retirement. Whether they're still on the journey or already there, at SRG Financial, we have a process, the mile marker formula, that helps you pursue your work optional lifestyle so you can focus on what's most important to you, like your family or checking off those bucket list items. Start taking the first step toward finding your work optional lifestyle. Call us today at 573-302-7212.
Want to get to know local leaders a lot better? Join Lake TV for a new community spotlight show weekdays at 9, 3, and 7. We talk with local leaders to get their story and learn more about their organizations. It's the Community Spotlight Show on Lake TV.
Looking for blinds, shades, shutters, drapes, or bedroom makeovers? On a budget? You need Budget Blinds in Laurie. Bring your ideas to us, or let our design consultants help you create the perfect look for your home. Because Budget Blinds is nationwide, our collective buying power enables us to search many major brands to bring you the blinds, shades, shutters, and drapes you want for less. Budget Blinds. Call us for a free consultation. Budget Blinds, the best in custom blinds and window coverings.
Hey, welcome to the first installment, if you will, of On the Trail. KB with What's Burnin' on Lake TV, our good friend and local historian, Mr. Bill Mulder. And our very first stop is where it all began, and in some cases, Bill, even ended.
Yeah,
ended for a lot of folks.
This would have been where it ended for
this is,
several people.
This is the old Lynn Creek Cemetery, and I don't know if you've ever been here, but if you haven't, you need to come by and take a look at, in this area of a couple of acres, we've got all of this history. There's so much incredible history, and if you notice where we started, Moulder, we're not rushing you or anything like that.
Okay.
But we thought we'd start with maybe a little bit of history on the Moulder family and then make our way around.
Well, the Moulder family come out of Tennessee. That's where they come to Missouri from, was the Clinch River Valley. And when they got here, they started looking for places to go. Well, the normal pace was to come up the Osage off the Missouri and start looking. Well, when they got upstream here a little bit, they got to the mouth of Lynn Creek, which is the Lynn Creek arm right behind us, and they took a hard left and started buying property. And as it went on from there, they went on up to Niagara. They were one of the biggest landowners in the area. They were some of the original settlers of Lynn Creek. And the family still owns land throughout the county today in different places. And it was just something that, they loved this area. Right. It was unusual for them to leave. Now, as generations move forward, they tended to move on, find new places to go. You can find a lot of Moulders up in the Kansas City area. You can find a lot of Moulders in Texas, believe it or not. So this was the original area, though, that when the family came here out of Tennessee, this is where they said this is the place.
Right.
There's writings that some of the ancestors left that said they felt this was the Valley of Paradise here in this area. And they loved it, and they farmed it, and they took care of it. And even after Ameren come in, or Union Electric, there was some dissension among the family about, well, what do we do? And some of them said, you know what, we want to sell off the bottomlands. We're just going to stay put because we like it here. This is home. Some of them did go on and leave the area. They just didn't know what to do with themselves because their homes had changed. As they tore down the towns, they tore down the homesteads, as you can imagine, it was a pretty rough place for them. And they didn't know what to do with it. And in the cemetery also, we have the parishes, a well-known family in this area, the Kings, that is just right in front of us here, a well-known family. So this is like the who's who of old Camden County here in this area.
And you still, obviously, hear about some of these names. Let's talk about Morgan and Nedra.
Morgan was quite the guy, and you might say he was a shining star of Moulders in Camden County.
These are his accolades right here.
Yeah, he was an attorney, a very brilliant attorney. In fact, I have a couple of his old law books still. He was the prosecuting attorney of Camden County for many, many years, a circuit judge, an assistant United States district attorney. He became a Fed, and then eventually was elected as a member of Congress in the House of Representatives. And one of his dear friends that he knew from Missouri was Harry Ship Truman.
Right.
Now, Morgan had a house behind the old Camden County Courthouse, and he loved it there because he could walk across the street and go right to work in the courthouse as a prosecutor or as a judge. And Harry Ship Truman would come down and visit his good friend Morgan. Now, this was after Harry was no longer president. And I have memories of Harry being here, and it's a quintessential white straw Panama hat, the white shirt, the bow tie, and those striped pants.
Right.
And had that walking stick with him. Very well-spoken man, very easygoing. Now, when you're a little kid, you don't have any understanding about, well, this is the former president.
Right.
That was just Mr. Truman to me.
Sure.
And, I have very fond memories of getting to talk to him and probably getting underfoot because a couple of times he and Morgan would kind of mention that maybe I should just go play in the yard.
Let's take an opportunity. Again, we're at the old Lynn Creek Cemetery here in Lynn Creek. The second town of Lynn Creek would have been directly behind us, which is no longer, because obviously they flattened it so that they could make the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of moved up this particular arm, this particular cove back this way.
Going back toward New Lynn Creek.
Right. Let's take a look around and see some of the history that this cemetery has to offer. As I said, you're going to find lots of history here in this old Lynn Creek Cemetery, and this is one of the headstones that we came across, and built based on what you were able to read off of the front of it. This particular person, Mr. Cooper, apparently served in the military. We're not quite sure what war it was,
well,
but
I'm going to say it's the Civil War.
Civil War.
By just discerning what it says on here.
Right.
Company K of the 53rd Illinois Infantry. Now, about the only time you would find that would be during the Civil War. After that, things started looking a little different because the states each had their own infantry. And in fact, there was a 5th Missouri Infantry Federal was based right out of Lynn Creek here.
Okay. So
it would be listed as 5th Missouri Infantry, or 5th Missouri Volunteers, or 5th Missouri Home Guard. It depended. The Union side had that, but so did the Confederate side.
Right.
So you could have 2 5th Missouri Infantries on the same battlefield.
Not quite sure how he died or when he died, but we're thinking that more than likely he came home, and his home was somewhere here in this general vicinity.
Correct,
And so as a part of his service to the military, they provided the family with a headstone when he passed away.
It wasn't unusual for people that served in the military to have something representing them that I was there, I served.
Right.
And I'm assuming that's probably what this is with Mr. Cooper.
Right.
He probably served during the Civil War and maybe moved here later after the war. Since we see Illinois mentioned, he may have moved here from Illinois after the war and lived out the rest of his life here.
Well, Mr. Cooper, sir, thank you for your service. We appreciate it. There are actually a number of these headstones scattered around the cemetery. I see a couple off this way. There's some other ones over off this way. But what a fascinating look back in history, and it's all right here at the Lake of the Ozarks, and in particular here at this cemetery that's accessible to people, I guess, anytime you'd like to come in. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if maybe you cleaned up a little bit. And this cemetery, just so that you know, is operated completely and totally by donation. I guess if you went up and talked to the folks at the Camden County Museum, they'd be able to help you.
They would love to have the help. That's so important because this is a piece of history we need to maintain. And again, it's all volunteers, so if you're watching this and you live in the area or you just come down sometimes, they would love to have you help clean up down here. They would love the monetary donation to help keep this place going.
Absolutely. We'll take a look around at some more of the history here at the Old Lynn Creek Cemetery. Again, some of the monuments, some of the headstones to the deceased in this cemetery are very intricate, Bill. This one in particular, which is always all the way back, I guess if you want to call it, maybe like the southeastern corner of this particular cemetery. We saw it sitting by itself, so we had to come over and take a look. Lester Krall, and Lester was born in 1895, passed away in 1926. But if you look at this, obviously it was all hand carved, which is amazing. And then I had said to you, I wonder how long it took to get something like this in here in the first place.
Well, this has probably come from a monument company. It's got a machined look to me.
Oh, yeah?
Whereas the rest of these white ones we see off here in the background, those were hand carved.
Right.
So this one was probably carved using the sand method where they blast sand at it. But it's still a very nice piece of granite. And like you were talking earlier, it would have been a bit of a chore to haul this thing up here. So the interesting thing is 1926, and that was about the end of Lynn Creek.
Right.
So by that time they were already talking about building the dam, and just in a few weeks or a few years they're building the dam.
Right.
So he was placed up here toward the end, and it's right here on the top. It's been engraved with a cross. Not a lot of information about Lester, so we really don't know what happened here. And he is up here in the very corner of the cemetery, and around behind us here, there's a lot of rocks, so it's about the last of the usable ground.
One of the final stops we wanted to make here today at the Old Lynn Creek Cemetery are these two particular headstones. Of course, if you can see, and we'll get you a close-up on this, this particular person was born in 1819, passed away in April of 1875. So we're talking this headstone somewhere in the neighborhood of about 140 141 years old. Obviously, this person was a Mason, was into the Masons. Thompson J. Kelly, so this is the Kelly plot, because what do you have over there, Bill?
I've got Martha J., and she passed away in 1870.
Right.
So, these have been here a while. What I like about these older tombstones is the intricacy.
Yeah.
As Megan, our camera person, mentioned earlier, there's like different fonts on this thing,
right,
and some very intricate carving. It's a hand holding a rose, and I think Megan's going to get with us here in a minute and get a tight view on this. But this is some really cool stuff. This wasn't anything that was done by machine. This was done by hand with somebody with a hammer and chisel.
So you had to find the piece of stone that you wanted to use initially.
Right.
And I'm not quite sure if this is a form of marble or just exactly what it is. Or
it's probably marble.
Marble?
Yeah, Missouri had a lot of marble in
it. You take out the chunk you want,
yep,
and then you cut it to the form that you want,
yep,
and then you come back in and you fill in all of the front with the name and the date and the fact, again, that this particular person was a Mason. You've got a smaller piece there in front of you, and we thought, Bill, that maybe that was possibly the original marker that was put there until that could be completed.
I would say, because there's one there in front of you as
right,
well. So there was a time that, those smaller markers, just to denote the grave so it wouldn't be lost.
Right.
Because it's going to take some time to make one of these.
Right.
So that's probably what happened here. We have the original marker to mark the plot, and then as the stonemason was able to get this carved and prepared and ready, then they put up the new marker. You never threw away the smaller stones. They stayed with the grave. So a lot of times I just lean them up against the grave.
We've also noted that there are some markers in the ground, and when we were over in the southeastern corner, we noted a smaller marker. That could have been obviously somebody who was buried there that they didn't know who it was, or
that, and some of this stone will erode over time, and maybe it wasn't cut deep enough, and that's just lost. It was worn away. You can see this in smaller cemeteries throughout Camden County.
Right.
And there's a lot of these. The old Lynn Creek Cemetery happens to be kind of fortunate that this was a more mainstream cemetery near a good-sized town. Now, a lot of these little cemeteries that were out in the middle of nowhere would be associated with a church. Those don't have a lot of markers in them. There may just be a piece of sandstone set there to mark the grave, but they didn't get the writing put on them. They weren't carved. So it's just, this is where somebody was buried. I grew up in a place called Nonsuch, Missouri, old Nonsuch, out off of State Route J in Camden County. And there was a store there, and there was a small cemetery up on the hill that just absolutely had nothing but sandstone. You could see some scratching in it, but weathering had taken away the writing. You couldn't tell who was buried there. We kind of had an idea of what families lived in the area, but not uncommon to see that.
What's interesting is there are a lot of these little cemeteries around the lake area, and a lot of people, as they made progress with the dam, a lot of those cemeteries had to be moved. I know there's one over on HH. There's another one in the Lynn Creek area as you're going down 54, as you go into the industrial park right there on the right-hand side of the road, and I've seen people stop there before and kind of look at some of the headstones and try to kind of figure out a little bit of the history on the people that are buried there.
Well, we had a couple of people that lived here in the county that just passed away in the past few years, Don and Judy Varner. They lived in the Max Creek area. They made it their life's work to record all these cemeteries, and Don would contact me about, have you known of these? And I'd give him the information of what I knew, and he cataloged all these cemeteries. After Don passed away, Judy donated all of those files to the Lynn Creek Cemetery. So if you have questions on these old cemeteries, if you go down to see Daphne at the Lynn Creek Museum, she can show you these files and help you with your research and tell you where they might be.
Well, I tell you what, folks, it's been a very interesting and learning experience. Thank you very much, Mr. Mulder. Appreciate your time, sir.
KB, it's always a pleasure.
We are starting a brand new series. We've started it. It's called On the Trail. We're going to take some time to take you around the Lake of the Ozarks, other parts of the state, show you some very interesting things, and we hope that you'll come along for the ride on What's Burnin' here on Lake TV.
Enjoying What's Burning with KB right here on Lake TV? Have questions, comments, or suggestions? Have an interesting story for KB to tell? Or maybe you want to be interviewed by KB on the show or are interested in sponsoring? All you have to do is reach out to KB at kb@mylaketv.com. You want
Want a dock that will withstand the wake from a million boats? Want a dock that's different from the usual dock? Then you want Ozark Barge and Dock in Gravois Mills. Ozark Barge and Dock, now celebrating 33 years of building the best dock on Lake of the Ozarks. And we guarantee every dock we build. So when it comes time to build your custom dock, trust the best and go with Ozark Barge and Dock, building the best dock at the lake for the last 33 years.
Most people don't know which direction they're heading when it comes to retirement, whether they're still on the journey or already there. At SRG Financial, we have a process, the mile marker formula, that helps you pursue your work optional lifestyle so you can focus on what's most important to you, like your family or checking off those bucket list items. Start taking the first step toward finding your work optional lifestyle. Call us today at 573-302-7212.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. We think it's hot stuff when things cool down. We spring into action when things start warming up. Of course, summer is one big, huge shootout on Lake TV. And we fall in love all over again when autumn rolls around. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all.
Looking for blinds, shades, shutters, drapes, or bedroom makeovers? On a budget? You need Budget Blinds in Laurie. Bring your ideas to us, or let our design consultants help you create the perfect look for your home. Because Budget Blinds is nationwide, our collective buying power enables us to search many major brands to bring you the blinds, shades, shutters, and drapes you want for less. Budget Blinds. Call us for a free consultation. Budget Blinds, the best in custom blinds and window coverings.
Moving to the lake is a lot of work, but not with Sunrise Movers, where we do the hard work for you. For packing up and delivering to your new home or simply loading and transferring your belongings, Sunrise Movers is the easy choice for your next move. Sunrise Movers packs your possessions extra carefully, shows up on time, and strives for 5-star customer service every time. Sunrise Movers, the official movers of Lake TV. Give us a call today to get a free estimate. Sunrise Movers, where we do the hard work for you.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family. And at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offers routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. With multiple convenient locations, our veterinary is the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it.
Right back here at Ozarks Cat and Canine in the month of January. I don't know if you can see a little of the snow there in the background, but you know what? They don't close down because they know these animals need a great home. KB's Furry Friends, presented by our veterinarian at the lake. Mary Meow Tilly is with us, and we've got a cool little guy. His name is Diesel.
Diesel.
And let's talk a little bit about Diesel.
Okay. Well, Diesel, all the history we have on Diesel puts him at about 2.5 years old. We're not sure that he's quite that old based on his teeth and his level of activity and all. We think he may be a little bit younger. He came in as an owner surrender, and from everything we were told, he's been in at least 3 different homes that we know of, but not because of anything that he's done.
Right.
Just people who had taken him in, and then the first one that we are aware of, she found out the person she lived with said that she couldn't have him, so she gave him to a friend, and then that person's landlord said that she couldn't have him, so she ended up bringing him to us.
Folks, it's so important anytime you adopt an animal to make sure, whatever the circumstances are, if you have to check with the landlord, if you have to pay extra money for a pet deposit, if you've got an animal that it doesn't, they won't coexist well, whatever the case, make sure you get that all figured out before you adopt an animal and then have to bring it back. Believe it or not, these animals can go through bouts of depression once they're in someone's care and then taken out of the care. I've seen it plenty of times.
Yeah, because they don't understand what's going on. They just know that they've been taken in, they meet somebody and they love them, and then all of a sudden that person's gone out of their life.
And it really just changes their overall demeanor as well. A happy dog like Diesel, if this kept happening to him, good possibility if he got into a bout of depression, he wouldn't pull out of it.
It's possible.
Yeah.
You never know. One thing that we always do when we do our application process, one of the questions on there is, do you own or rent? And if somebody rents, then we definitely want to talk to their landlord.
Right.
There's a lot of landlords in this area that have breed restrictions, size restrictions, a lot of places that won't allow a dog over about 25, 30 pounds.
Sure,
so that's one thing we always want to check on before we send an animal home, and then the landlord comes back later on and says no.
Right. Not good for the animal, not good for the people that wanted to adopt it. All in all, an overall bad situation. So just take the time to check all those things out first. He has kind of a unique tick-borne disease as well. It's not life-threatening. It's not something that's contagious, but he does have it. Tell us what that is.
So when Diesel went in to get neutered, like with all of our other dogs, anybody over 6 months old, we check them for heartworms. And the test that our vet uses to check for heartworms also checks for 3 different tick-borne diseases. And one of those is a disease called Ehrlichia. Is actually the germ part of it, you could say. Ehrlichiosis is the disease itself. It's very common in this area with all the ticks we have and everything. We've had a lot of dogs that have tested positive for Ehrlichia since we started doing that. So what they do is the next step is they do blood work to see if the Ehrlichia is actually active or not. Or because the original test only shows that they've been exposed to it. Just because they've been exposed to it at some point in their life doesn't mean that it'll ever affect them in any way. That's why they do the other blood work. So in his case, he did have an active form of it. And what that means for him right now is 30 days of antibiotics. And then they'll recheck him at the end of that. Every dog that we have had in so far that has been positive and been active and done that 30 days, then by the end of that time period, it's back in a dormant state. It may never become active again, but it is something that his adopter would need to keep a periodic eye on. It's kind of like Lyme disease, which is another thing that they're testing for in that test. And it can cause them to be lethargic, lack of energy, they can throw up, they can have diarrhea, that kind of thing. So that's kind of some signs, whoever adopts him, if he starts not quite acting like himself, then that might be a sign that he needed to go into the vet and have some blood work done.
About every 6 months, would you say, just on a regular basis?
I think that's kind of the standard on how often to kind of recheck.
That's another thing to keep in mind too, folks. If you're going to have an animal that needs some sort of medical care on a regular basis, well, you should always take them to the vet and make sure that they're healthy and get the blood work done. But if they have some special circumstances surrounding them, that's another thing to keep in mind as far as being able to afford the medicine and any other care that they might run into. You can get insurance and things for pets, but just make sure you can afford everything too, so that doesn't cause any issues down the road. He is such a lively guy, and he's so full of energy. He's not going to last here long at all. I guarantee you that much. So if you'd like to check him out online, you got him online already?
Not yet. He'll be going up online sometime this week.
Okay. Well, look for Diesel, because he's a ham bone just like a lot of these dogs around here. They've got such a great selection of dogs, and we feature, certain ones every other week when we're here. Come by and take a look, or look at them online, because there's just, it's crazy how many really, really, really good dogs you have.
We have a lot of dogs that never even make it online because we don't post them online until they're actually fixed and ready to go and had all their vetting done and all that. So sometimes people come in and maybe they tell us they're looking for a specific type of dog, a specific size or something like that, and we introduce them before that dog is actually ready. So, when people call and give us an idea what they're looking for, then sometimes we can, match them up before they're actually ready to leave. And then when they are ready to leave, they can walk out the door.
This is Mary Meow Me Tilly. We're at Ozarks Cat and Canine. Come on by, take a look around. January, February, into March, and sometimes April, things slow down a little bit. You can always donate food and supplies and anything else they need. Our thanks to our veterinarian at the lake. Back with more of What's Burning right here on Lake TV.
Your furry friends are more than pets, they're family. And at our veterinary, we understand that. With multiple locations, we can service your pets when and where you need it. Our team of professionals offers routine wellness, orthopedic care from broken bones to joint repair, and even emergency services. We are ready to welcome your pet to our family with medical or preventative care. With multiple convenient locations, our veterinary is the team providing exceptional care for your pet when and where you need it.
You want a dock that will withstand the wake from a million boats? Want a dock that's different from the usual dock? Then you want Ozark Barge and Dock in Gravois Mills. Ozark Barge and Dock, now celebrating 33 years of building the best dock on Lake of the Ozarks. And we guarantee every dock we build. So when it comes time to build your custom dock, trust the best and go with Ozark Barge and Dock, building the best dock at the lake for the last 33 years.
It's our most protective wash yet. Introducing the Quick Car Ceramic Wash. It's an industrial-grade polymer solution with ceramic nanotechnology, resulting in high-end, advanced scientific protection of your vehicle's finish. The Quick Car Ceramic Wash. Try it on its own or with the monthly Unlimited Wash Club today. Quick Car. Quick, easy, and professional every time. In Jefferson City and Osage Beach.
At SRG Financial, we reduce the uncertainty on your journey to financial independence. Our foundational approach revolves around two things: what matters most to our clients and the things that we can control. The things that matter most often revolve around family, occupation, and recreation. The things we can control are a panoramic approach to financial planning, a strategy that stays fluid and dynamic like your life, and a proprietary process, the mile marker formula. If you want to reduce the uncertainty on your journey, contact us today.
For 55 years, Bryant Auction has been a trusted and reliable auction company that cares about their clients. Whether it's real estate, guns, or an estate sale, Bryant Auction in Osage Beach gets results. Call 573-346-4777 or go to BryantAuction.com with auctions every Thursday at 5.
I'm always here, and don't tell my wife, but I have more fun here than I do at home.
Bryant Auction. Consider it sold!
Hey, thanks for joining us here on What's Burnin' on Lake TV. We've got another great show coming up next week, including a trip to our veterinary at the lake. They are one of our sponsors, and I want to thank all of our sponsors, by the way, including our title sponsor, SRG Financial Advisors, Budget Blinds, Ozark Barge and Dock, and don't forget Bryant Auction. We're back here next week with a brand new edition of What's Burnin' on Lake TV.